Just count it down. Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Scottsburg Board of Works and Public Safety. This is July the 13th, 2020, in the year of our Lord. First thing we have to this evening, it is 5:30, so we're going to begin with a roll call.
Mayor Amy,
Here.
Tom Lewis. Let's see my phone. Tom Lewis. Hello. Okay, he's here, calling by phone. Okay, and Karen Gershis. Yep.
Okay, the first thing, you call me.
No, okay.
Here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Mayor Amy. That's why you want to
Maybe-
start.
Sorry about that. The first thing we have is the approval of the minutes on June the 22nd, the Board of Works. So I know that's been about 3 weeks ago, or so. So if you've read through those, if you have any questions, if not, we'll entertain a motion to approve as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve them as presented.
Karen Grisham makes the motion. Is there a second?
I will second.
Tom Lewis seconds. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, like sign, so moved. Okay, the next thing is, Board of Works is new business. And the first thing we have is a request of waiver of late fees for July 2020. And presenting this is going to be our utility manager, Leslie Bixler.
The governor has extended the waiver of disconnects through the 13th or the 14th of August, so I'd like to ask the board's approval to go ahead and waive the July late fees.
Okay, do I have a motion to go forward with that?
I'll make a motion.
Motion is made to waive the utility late fee per the governor's order through August the 13th. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's the motion that's been presented by Karen Grisham. Is there a second?
I will second that motion.
Tom Lewis seconds. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, like sign, so moved. Next thing we have is a request for rate reduction at the Samtech at the Mid-America Science Park. Ashley, do you want to talk about that, please?
I sure will, yeah. Previously, Samtech had the agreement to be able to use the banquet hall at the Mid-America Science Park for a cost of $100 per day. Their previous trainings were over the course of 10 days, amounting to a total of $1,500. At this time, they have requested to move from the banquet hall to the presentation hall. The current rate for the banquet hall is $400 per day. Samtech is asking for a rate reduction of the same deal that they had prior to that of the $100 per day for the trainings that they have the next upcoming 2 weeks.
Was there any reason why they were wanting to change the venue?
For the distancing, it worked better in the presentation hall and also the AV equipment.
I got you. Are they going to be using the AV equipment?
Yes.
Oh, they will. Okay. Has the Board of Works all seen the presentation hall?
Yes, I have.
Tom, have you seen it?
Yeah, is that the one in front there?
It is. It's just like when you were in engineering school at Purdue, you kind of had a
Yeah,
movie theater seating.
yeah, I've seen it. The one right in front there.
Yep. So that's what they're requesting to move from there for, is it for a week as well?
It's a 2-week period.
It's a 2-week period.
So where are they at now?
They're in the event center.
Oh, back in the back?
Right.
Yeah, okay. So they just want to move to a different spot?
Yes,
For 2 weeks.
for 2 weeks, for 10 days, I guess.
Is there any other people wanting that space at this time?
You cannot see her, but she is shaking her head no.
No, not at
We
this
have
time.
we have no other people wanting to lease that facility at this point.
Okay.
So is there a motion then to go forward and give them a rate reduction? Or no? Or do you want to offer them a different rate, or what's your pleasure?
So they're asking for $100 rather than $400?
Correct.
Correct?
That is correct.
And why should we do that? Is there a reason?
Samtech has been, they've been good stewards of the science park in the past, and we have a great working relationship with them. They are bringing new jobs to our city, and they would like to use that facility for training purposes in order to recruit these new hires.
Okay.
And is it recruiting or is it training for the ones they have already hired? You know?
Training for the ones they've already recruited.
Okay, so basically, they were in a recruiting process in the event center. Now it goes to the training. So I think that's why they need the AV equipment there in that presentation hall. So I'm assuming, will we have to have any personnel operating it, or will they operate it themselves, actually?
Themselves, and Mr. Kiefer will be there during their training hours to assist with anything that they could need.
Okay, so basically, you know, we're not gonna have to have IT people there, but our normal maintenance person who will be there anyway will be able to handle their needs.
Yeah.
And they really have been good stewards.
So this is just a one-time,
This is a one-time,
for
right?
2 weeks. They're not expecting this rate continually, I guess.
No, they're not.
Okay. Well, as long as there's nobody else wanting to rent the space, I see no reason why not to rent it for lesser value. They're a good client and have brought business.
Is that then a motion to go forward?
I don't make that motion yet.
Okay, Tom Lewis makes a motion to go forward to the rate reduction for Samtech. Is there a second?
I will second.
Karen Gracious seconds. Is there any other questions or comments, concerns?
And may I clarify, this is a one-time rate reduction for the training period over the next 2 weeks. If they request any future rate reductions, they'll need to come back to the Board of Works.
That is, did you hear all that, Tom?
Yeah, one time.
It's a one-time. Should
For the
they
next
need,
2 weeks.
yes, should they need anything else, they're gonna have to come back again.
Right, understood.
Okay, so, with that addendum, Ms. Campbell, we will go forward, and, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Hearing none, so passed. We also had a resident there at Packet Pie. And there was a concern as to, I wanted to talk about last time. And he's been somewhat instrumental in giving some direction for the park. He was wanting to move to a location basically next to his, is that correct?
That's correct.
It's just a little bit larger facility, just for the balance of this year, which would be basically, what, 5 months?
Yeah, for the remainder of the year, he requested to move to the larger space next door.
A little bit larger space, because we're not being hammered for space right now. Is there anybody who would be not in favor of him moving over there?
I see no reason to not allow him to do that if he's been, like you said, been instrumental. How'd you say that?
Yeah, he's been very informative of areas. We're trying to find our best way around an alligator. And, and he's certainly given a lot of light in an IT direction and has been beneficial in several areas. And would like maybe just a little bit more larger space, would like to maintain his rent at the current rate to the end of this year.
Yeah.
And, we tabled that last meeting because I wanted to talk to him more to see his ideas and as well as his contribution to cleaning up behind himself.
Yeah. So how was the conversation to your liking?
It was, yeah, it was, and there was some clarification as far as his responsibilities. He was okay with that. I wanted to make sure that was in the mixture before we allowed him to move to a larger space.
So is it then at the end of the year, they move it back to the a smaller space.
Well, it's gonna all be,
Increase the rent.
it will all be discussed, whether he would have a rate increase or he's gonna move back. So, you know, so I think it's kind of a test thing for him, and is he going to actually need this? It's kind of like taking a car for a spin around the block, you know? So, so I guess what I'm asking for is to allow Packet Pie to move over to a little bit larger facility, for the remainder of his period of lease, at the same rate. And then we'll discuss going forward, if he wants to remain in that spot or go back to another spot or get even a bigger spot.
Yeah, okay.
All of those are applicable.
I would like to ask, Mayor, will you be providing a new contract for these 5 months?
Wasn't planned.
Well, I would make that suggestion that we have something in
We
writing.
can just do an amendment.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we just not amend it, just change the room number? Is that okay to maintain the same contract?
I just want to be sure we have one. Ashley, do you know if we have one?
We do have a current contract, yes, so that is something that we can provide to be amended by Mr. Stigdon.
Yes, and my office would like copies of those contracts,
Sure,
please, for insurance purposes.
absolutely. So, what other questions about this would you have? Hearing none, would I have a motion then to amend the contract so that Packet Pie can take the office, the suite next to his, and at the same rate to the end of his current lease, which would be expire at midnight, December 31st, 2020.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Tom,
With all those stipulations.
Tom Lewis makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Karen Gracious seconds. Are there questions, comments about this? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Hearing none, so moved. Okay, the next thing is we have a COVID-19 update. Basically, I'm gonna probably announce this at both the Board of Works folks as well as our regular city council meeting. In Scott County, we have a regular Monday, 1 PM COVID-19 meeting. We have that meeting with our county health department. We have a meeting with our county sheriff's office, the county commissioners, the county council, the county 911 center. We have this also with the city of Austin. We have this as well with the Scott County Hospital. And this is a weekly meeting. So right now, this past week, we were up 4 residents of Scott County. That's usually been down. We've typically been running about 8 to 10, but we're down to 4 this week. We did have 1 more death. So our total right now is 172 folks who have had the COVID, tested positive for the COVID-19 since all this started, plus we're at 9 deaths right now. We do want to make you aware that you can get testing. You can have walk-in testing at the Armory here on South Main Street. And, so it's the Army Reserve, was that National Guard? Might be National Guard. Anyway, the Armory at South Main Street, they're there from basically 7 till noon. After noon, it gets a little hot in the tents, and so 90 degrees, they're headed home. So folks, if you would like to be tested for COVID-19, you can certainly go there. If you take a cell phone, they're gonna help you get registered there real quick for you. So that's going on right there. So anyway, there's a nice thing about living in Mayberry. We're a little bit more insular, and we don't quite have some of those things. But as you can see, we're all masked here. We're all coming in here with temperature tests here, and as well as spacing. We're 6 feet away, and so. But that's all I have. We have claims. I guess we need to probably go around the board here too. Sorry about that. Do you have anything, Ms. Bixler?
I had some sewer adjustments and then our utility adjustments for the month of June for you guys to sign off on.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I had for you
Thank
today.
you. We have our department head for our famous Scottsburg Electric, Jim Binkley.
I'd like to bring before the board a promotion for John Crawford into a lead lineman position. He's been doing that since this COVID-19. As you know, we split the crews and we're essentially running two separate crews, keeping people from cross-connecting with each other in case somebody does come ill and brings it into the department. So we have people to keep the lights on. John's been doing an outstanding job since we split, and he honestly surprised me that he's done as well as he has, and it's been a good trial period for him. That I'd like to recommend that the board would promote him into a lead lineman position.
What is his current position now?
He is a journeyman lineman.
A journeyman?
Yes, and you'd have to be a journeyman lineman to get into this position, because you're going to be directing work with journeyman.
How many years has he been a lineman?
I think 98.
Oh, wow.
Somewhere around there, I think when he hired him in Scottsville, he came from Hall Contract.
So 22 years he's been a lineman?
I'm guessing somewhere, and don't hold me to that, I'm just shooting from the hip on that.
Okay,
But it's roughly 20 years.
okay, wow, wow. Ms. Gracious, Mr. Lewis, what questions do you have for Mr. Binkley?
So you think he's been with the company or with it for 22 years approximately?
I've been superintendent for 17, and he was here probably a good 5 years before that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
None for me.
Okay. Hearing no more questions, and I know your funding there, so seems like you have the funds to be able to do it. You're just replacing one individual who's just retired anyway, so. Is there a motion then to go forward and to move John Crawford from journeyman lineman to lead lineman?
I'll make that motion.
A motion is made by Karen Gracious. Is there a second to that?
I will second the motion.
Tom Lewis seconds. Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Hearing none, so moved.
And when is this effective?
It would be effective Monday of next week, or Sunday, I'm sorry.
Sunday,
At
okay.
the start of the next pay period. Also, as Mayor brought up, Mark McNeely, he retired, and he's I've got a couple of guys that are well versed on being able to remove difficult trees, and him being one of them. I'm gonna miss that. Mark's a journeyman lineman, but he's also had another set of tools in his box being able to do the tree work. I gave Karen a copy of our a position the mayor and I discussed February maybe about a vegetation person.
Okay.
So that we'd actually have a person that could be hired in to work on the trees. And part of that was him also being able to adapt and learn to work on the fiber. But that's one of our current tree guy. He's able to do both. We've talked with this guy, and Willie and I both thought he presented himself very well, and we were, and this again was back in October, that he seemed like a very good prospect for the city. But talking with the mayor, we didn't have a exact position for him. This would have to be created through ordinance to the council and a pay rate established. I'm just handing this out so everyone can be familiar with what this position would be. This would be the formal description, job description, if it's passed by council. Last thing I've got on my notes is at the golf course, we are getting the lighting out there, the lights that we put up for Acorn style lights. They'll be working on getting the wiring around tomorrow. Hopefully by next week, we'll have that lit up.
How many lights are you putting out there?
5 or 6, I have to go back and try them again.
Okay.
But they were evenly spaced through the Northwest Stadium Boulevard there.
Okay.
Around to where the clubhouse is.
Okay. Okay. Are the lights also extending down into the Willow Shore Drive all the way down to the lake?
The license, the only thing we've done at Willow Shore Drive is from that gate, from the entrance.
Yes,
to the
sir.
Back part, we've taken those over from Jackson County RMC,
I see.
replaced them with, high efficiency LEDs.
Okay,
And they are metering a light and using a multiplier of total number of lights to send the bill to the city.
I see. So, so in other words, they do have lighting there. Okay, that's very fine. We have Miss Marty Randall as well, who would like to present something to us.
Yes. This situation was brought to my attention by a lady who volunteers a lot of time at the welcome sign at I-65. And she took some pictures because the road there, Honey Run Parkway, which was paved, the entrance exit to Honey Run right there at 56 was widened to assist vehicles into more safely traveling and turning onto Honey Run. Unfortunately, it has not stopped the problem, which has been there for several years, that there are some large boulders there, and they were put there to protect the welcome sign, which I believe the Visitors Commission spent about $40,000 to install and create there. Unfortunately, now all the boulders are being shoved into the one side of the sign. It is causing the stonework to crumble. And the volunteer that spoke with me said that she's fearful that the whole sign will be compromised in some way, and as well as a flagpole out there. And the flagpole now has, yeah, that's the flagpole. And the flagpole has now been nearly, badly damaged by one of the boulders.
Tom, what I'm seeing here is basically, it appears that, you know where she's talking about there by the Speedway?
Yeah, right there, where you turn in to go back to the Cracker Barrel.
Right. So apparently what she's saying is as the tractors are pulling around, the rear wheels,
Right.
they're pushing those boulders into that sign and into that flagpole. She got a picture of that metal base, that flagpole has a serious indentation in it, as well as some of the fascia, they're putting up what I call stick and lick on top of concrete block, so it makes it look like a stone. And some of those stones are now, some of what I call stick and lick is coming off. So it's having the concrete block underneath of it. And then it looks to me like we have it's just, yeah.
We have a problem out
We
there.
have, yeah, Houston, we have a problem. And
So this is due to semis turning in there,
this is due to semis.
running into the stones and pushing them over.
Correct.
So what we will do, we will send our ever ingenious street department head. This guy is amazing. He has a master's degree like you from Purdue University, I believe, Tom, in engineering. And, so
Gotta be good.
he's gotta be good. That's exactly right. So we will send him out there tomorrow and we will assess the situation and then come back. We'll come back next 2 weeks with a resolution to try to correct this, to have some type of a resolution by which we can correct this. This is an issue. Now maybe we can have a couple of those big foundation blocks in Israel brought over. We can't move that one. That's 200 tons. So,
So this is, nothing has changed since they put all that signage and
No.
stones in there. It's just
We
the
thought
traffic
that,
is not driving around.
no. I don't know if Chief Zeller would like to comment on how many times his men have been called out there because someone.
Not a long time.
Not for a long time. Well, apparently they're doing it and not telling anybody.
I don't remember the last time I've been caught.
I mean, we've got a serious dent in that flagpole.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, from here, it looks like you could put your entire thumb in that indentation. And maybe it's more than that. Well, Marty's saying yes.
I'm fairly certain it is. I mean, she was very.
hand?
Yeah.
Probably a 30-year hand, Tom, looks like it'll fit in the indentation of that flagpole. So, you get that much weight moving, it can certainly move a lot of earth.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on.
Well, we appreciate your attention to the problem.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for bringing this to the Board of Works tonight. Now let's go to our clerk treasurer, Ms. Hart.
I would just like to ask approval for, motion for the claims as presented. I know Tom hasn't seen them, so.
So I'm gonna trust Karen.
Yeah, so trust Karen to review them.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
Karen has made the motion, and I agree.
I will second the motion.
Tom seconds the motion, and questions, comments, concern? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, like sign? Hearing none, we're so passed. Ms. Campbell.
I needed to bring something to the board from our previous meeting. The last time we met, the hiring of Sean Royalty at the wastewater treatment plant was approved. At that time, however, we did not request a cell phone stipend for him to be approved. And this evening, I would like to ask the board to approve a $50 per month cell phone stipend for Sean Royalty.
Tom, did you hear all that? You're at the other end of the table.
No, I heard bits and pieces.
Okay, what Ms. Campbell was repeated was that Sean Royalty is a new employee at the wastewater treatment plant. And when we moved to go forward in bringing Mr. Royalty on with the city of Scottsburg, we did not approve a cell phone stipend. He has since come on the employment of the city of Scottsburg, and she is asking for the city to give him a $50 per month stipend on a cell phone as he's in the field a lot.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Okay, Tom Lewis makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Karen Grisham seconds. Questions, comments, concerns?
Would you like this retro, because I believe today was his first day? Would you need it retro for July or to just begin in August?
I think, begin in August? What do you think? Are you on for today? I mean, does it go by the month?
It's a monthly, yes, monthly cell phone stipend.
What's your plan? What do you recommend?
I don't really know the needs. Is he needed for the next, how many more days is July? I'd say go ahead, retro back to July myself.
Okay, Tom's making the motion.
That's usually what we've done. A half month isn't gone yet, so we're still kind of like insurance. So yes, so
To retro
we
it
will
back.
do that in August. We will
That makes sense.
make up for that.
Okay,
Okay.
so Tom has made the motion. Karen is second.
Second.
With that second, and it has been added that we retro it back to July the 1st of 2020. So, any other questions, comments, concerns?
Thank you.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, so moved. We also have, anybody else have anything to say? Oh, we do.
We spoke about Mark McNeely's retirement earlier, and I have his, payout voucher, if you'll sign that for.
Tom, when it gets down here, I'll read it to you. So you can know what it is.
And the department head has approved, him and Elena or Carmen came up with calculations. Both agreed on it as to the number of days he had left at the end of his employment.
Jim Binkley has okayed this, and, can you say it now? It shows he has 300 hours. What is this for, Mr. Binkley?
vacation time should be 15 days of vacation time. And there was 45 days of sick days. Actually, had more than that. We can only sell back 45. And the length of employment requires the city to reduce that to 50% of this value on the sick days only.
Okay, Tom, did you hear all that?
Now, I heard the 15 days vacation
There's 15 vacation
and
and
45 or something.
he had 45 sick days. Mr. Binkley said he had a lot more than 45,
57, I think.
57, but the city only allows a sellback of 45. And is that 50%?
It's at a percent based on years of employment.
So he's at a 50% rate right now. So his total payback is 11,481.
Explain the 50% payback.
I'm sorry.
Per the handbook, the amount of sick days that an employee has, we pay a percentage for if they've been here, 20 years plus,
20
they
years,
get 100% payback. Mark had been here 10 years,
Correct.
and so he got 50% payback
Okay.
on the number that they had
50%.
remaining.
Okay.
Yes, it's kind of an incentive program, for them not to use their sick days if they plan on staying with the city for a while.
Okay. I got you.
So is there a motion then to go forward and to approve the payback is presented to us for $11,481?
I'll stop and make the motion.
Tom Lewis makes the motion,
I'll second.
seconded by Karen Grishas. Any questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. So moved. Okay, what else do we have for this evening?
If I may.
Yes,
the,
Mr. Binkley?
IMEA rodeo, because of the COVID, the national rodeo, the international rodeo, all the lineman rodeos for the most part canceled. So IMEA, to keep things alive, they are having their top out test for their 4-year apprentices. So we incorporated a hurt man rescue for any apprentice that wanted to attend it. And we had a decent group of them. They all done their social distancing, masks, the whole 9 yards. But there is a chrome trophy that goes to the utility in Indiana each year who has the best hurt man rescue, and that will be coming to Scottsburg this year.
Oh, wow.
Good.
We're proud to say that we brought that home finally.
That's great. Thank you very much. Scottsburg continues to lead in this area, so thank you very much for all your work and effort. Jim, that's
Thank you.
wonderful. Thank you. What else do we have for this evening? Hearing nothing, it's 6:02. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Karen Grishas makes a motion to adjourn. We are so adjourned. Mr. Lewis, thank you so very much for joining us from regions beyond.
All right. Talk to you later.
Have a blessed evening. Thank you,
Bye,
brother.
Tom, enjoy.
Bye.
Goodbye, Tom.